Other people have different blood types, and I wonder as to what that means reflectively as to the point of their DNA, and what it means for their particular expression and their particular ability to express and to understand the limitlessness of their being. And so we do have differences, we do have uniquenesses, and I'm all about learning your unique expression, but I'm telling you about my own and the things that I've come to for anybody who's similar or anybody who could gain from these things in any particular way that they're able to gain. I'm a manifesting generator. There are people that are projectors. There are people that are manifestors. There are people that are generators. There are people that are other things, surely. But this is what I am, and so I'm unique in a way as well. And so I am seeing that we do have subtle differences. I would still say that we all have the same limitless potential, but I'm actually not certain if you have the potential to realize your limitlessness or not. I do. And I don't see why I would be better than you or that it would be different than you. You just have a different path in order to do this, is from what I see must be the case, because you are limitless. There's not a single thing within anything that is limited, or else we would not be one thing, we'd be two things. But we are one thing. And so we're all limitless, and so we must all have the potential to understand our limitless expression. And each one of us are different in different ways as per whatever is the path of our understanding of this, of our liberation, of our realization. And it's gorgeous. So I'm very excited to talk to all of you today. Talk to you always in every way that I could ever talk to you. I love you very dearly. Wondering what else I could bring through, where else we could go with this, how else we could be very helpful for one another, how I could be helpful for you in any way. Understanding all of the energies and frequencies to be rivers of energies flowing through us. And if we just release our judgment and accept all of these energies to flow through us very naturally, uninhibited by ourselves in any way, shape, or form, then we can find them passing through us like the passing wind, not attaching to them anymore, not having to become them anymore, but being able to see them very clearly from a place that appears to be outside of them, but is just simply so connected to them that they're no longer affecting them because they're not holding them within inside for a long period of time. I've said this before in other past videos. That we are rivers of energy, strands of energy, tubulars of toroidal fields, and when we clench one of these things by saying that we're not one of these things and not allowing the flow of life that is that amazing wisdom being a river of energy, we cause it to have to stay with us longer or to be suppressed and built up behind us until a time when it can explode outwards in many other directions and cause us disease and sickness, and that's obviously not something we're looking to do. But if we can just open it up and say, you know what, I am anger, I am hate, I am love, I am everything entirely as one being, I am every individual emotion, frequency, and feeling constantly, and every being that I see in my present reality, it's all moving through me as amazing wisdom teacher and rhythm of life, because there's nothing that I'm not connected to in every way, shape, and form, as I'm not separate from everything, and it is all actually me. And so when I open the channel and allow everything to flow in perfection as it is, then I no longer kink the energy in such a way that causes detrimental flows and causes these volatile expressions to be occurring. And the way that I start to view things, the way I perceive them, become very different, and changes the entirety of my reality. I no longer become triggered by this event. I then am moved in different places of understanding, of compassion. And sometimes I'm moved to express in this way or that way, in a way that seems very raw and hard and harsh. And sometimes I'm moved to be very patient and gentle, and sometimes I'm moved in any way, but I don't govern myself in the way I do. And now I can start seeing the wisdoms of all these energies, and I can see them for their wisdom self. Like, oh, this energy is being used at this time to clear this energy in this individual and move it into this kind of form of fashion for their benefit and for their liberation. Oh, and this energy is being used so that I can feel and connect with this. Oh, and as I'm doing this more and more, I'm realizing, oh, I'm not doing anything, and this isn't actually my energy. This is an energy that is the energy of the moment, and an energy that I'm able to channel through myself, and this is energy that relates to this thing perfectly, and is a key, is a gateway, is a doorway into realizing ourselves. And now things become much more light, they become much more fun, they become much more easier to work with than previously, when we were judging ourselves and judging the energy and constricting it and feeling it and attaching to it and clinging to it and calling ourselves some label or some identity through our own personal judgment, saying that we have to be, this way or that way, instead of, whatever way that we happen to be very naturally, authentically, in any moment, very genuinely. and we find ourselves devoted to this genuinity. We find ourselves devoted to our true self. We find ourselves in a much more happy place, even in times when we seem not to be very happy. We find ourselves very grounded, very centered, very easily able to move through this, and through expression we find ourselves understanding the energy. When we find ourselves understanding the energy, we find ourselves out of a place of fear of that energy. We're no longer in fear of that energy. We're in a place of understanding with that energy. Then we become much more fun, much more lighthearted. We find the blessing, we find the wisdom within the mistake or whatever it is, and then we find a great amount of glee. We find a great amount of happiness, a great amount of success feeling, a great amount of pride feeling, a great amount of like, wow, this is really an awe-stricken reality, shocking even, like, wow, this is quite the blessing, what an amazing gratitude now I feel. And then we're able to transfer this gratitude, transfer these energies to other beings, and we can see then how this wisdom that has come through us in our experience was a great blessing, because we've been able to help even just one being and create multitudes of happiness and understanding for them as well. And now we feel as if that's going to transfer on through the pay it forward method. You know, you give to this person, they give to 2 people, they give to 3 people, they give to 4 people, and those people give to people, and those people give to people, and now we can see where we created a sea of consciousness of beneficial, positive reaction through the transaction of sharing our information through our direct experience. Because once we realize how amazing it is for our direct experience to be able to be given us wisdom versus our conceptual knowledge and all the books that we had ever read before, we start to seek more experience that is direct, and we start to understand how to relay this experience better and better through every scenario, and thus help even more and more through giving more energy, more detail, more articulation. And so now we're just really loving the giving more, and we're like, how much more can I give? Can I give more? Can I give more? Can I give more? And the more that you give, the more that you receive, and it just becomes this endless free energy generator, and it's a really amazing thing. You're like, oh my goodness, wow, I'm just like this endless reservoir of truth and wisdom, this endless reservoir of energy and love and compassion. I'm just this amazing, endless reservoir of being, and constantly, by its being, sustaining its being, to be even more being than it's ever been able to believe it could be. You know, and it's like, wow, this is amazing. And so that's a phenomenal thing. And we can all reach these places. You know, we can all reach these places together, and then we can start understanding spaces within these places that are extremely transcendental, and then we can start understanding things that science has only begin to start to imagine. And then we can bring these things into the realms of science, because they're not separate from science. They can actually be explained. But through seeing these things, we can start to create the machines that would relate to these things and maybe help people on different levels. And maybe we see that now is a time when it doesn't even matter the machines that we make, because we are able so much to connect to the amazing circuitry, the phenomenal technology that is our own being, that it is no longer necessary to create machines to reflect these things, because we are able to show other people very accurately, very quickly, very precisely who they are, and ignite the activation of their own personal technology and machine that is their phenomenal, limitless being in the sea of everything. And we're able to enlighten all of consciousness in this way to no longer technology is even needed, because we found ourselves to be the greatest of technologies ever, and the greatest of systems, and we start to hook into the energetic grid, the energetic circuitry of everything around us, and we start to give it direction, and we start to change it around. We start to grow things through the touching of an object and causing something like, okay, something needs to be there, here I go, I send it a signal, and there it goes. Just the same way as my brain would cause healing within my cells, I can then use my brain, which direction comes from my heart up to my brain. The heart sends a signal, sends it out to this thing, and then all of a sudden I start to heal the blueprint of the reality around me in the way in which I can see very clearly is needed for the flow of everything, because I'm now connected to understanding the energy and how everything's flowing. It's like, oh, this right here could use something to help the energy move in this particular way, and boom. And then we might eventually realize how that's literally what's already occurring, always and every way, that is literally what is happening already. And then we can see that a spider web is weaved where it is to balance the harmonics of the situation. So we already have insects and birds and all kinds of things here helping us understand, you know, all of these amazing things in all of these amazing ways. It brings us exactly what we need. When a person shows up, that's what we need to balance our particular expression in that moment. When this person shows up, that's what we need. And when this event happens, that's what's needed. When this happens, and we can see, whoa, this is a really perfected system. This is something that I was wishing to do is already happening. It's already the most advanced technology ever, and everything is happening in such an utter perfection. I just don't even know what to do with it. But aside from just express my great gratitude, and then also hope that I can help other people see that this is the case. Because when we all fall into the energetic frequency, the resonance that everything is perfection, then not only does everything become perfection, because it already is perfection, but we see it in such a way that empowers it to show us even more deeply that what it is, and then brings us all into a greater alignment. The more that I see it, the more you can see it, the more they can see it, and the more of us that fall into alignment of seeing it, the more everything can see it, until finally we're all free. We're all out of our judgments. We're all out of our fears. We're all understanding the nature of reality, which is perfect. And we can understand the truth, and we can understand the truth of us all. And realizing that, we get to start being shown by perfection really amazing teachings about ourselves, and start to learn ourselves, and start to realize ourselves to be very limitless. And this is something that I'm currently doing in my life path. This is something I'm currently understanding through breath work and through many different teachings that have been coming through me. And this is something that we can all understand in a really big and phenomenal fashion. And that we are beginning to understand, and that we have begun to understand, and that we've been understanding for many lifetimes now. And this is the time of fruition. This is the time when the trees are fully grown, and the fruit is ripened, and we're beginning to eat of this fruit, and really gain the nourishment of this fruit, and become the fruit ourselves in this really amazing way. And so I'm very, very grateful for all of you. Very grateful for this amazing truth that comes through constantly, all day, every day. And yeah, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to say. There's a lot to do. I'm glad that I've come on with you, and that we've been able to talk for so long. And I hope that we get to talk even more soon. Thank you very much for everything. I love you. Aloha. Mahalo. Matakyasin. Thank you.